Welcome back, everybody. This is Naresh with Grind Policy, and today I am posting my February update for my first video I put up in January, where I explained that I cut off all distractions, as many as possible, I should say. It's not a perfect scenario, but as many distractions as possible, staying home to work on my goals. So, how's it been going? Well, today's February 12th of 2025. So if that's of any indication to you that I'm a little late on posting this update, that's kind of the feeling of how January went. Everything was a little late catching up. So I had posted this video, I believe, like around January 3rd, where I explained what I wanted to do this year to focus on my goals, eliminate distractions. My goals being to work on my business, uh, work out, have my fitness goals, learn a new language, try new recipes, all these different things, right? So I wanted to be able to track my progress. So I came up with this big old thing here I got here, right? It's actually not that many pages. This brown leather exterior makes it look bigger than it is, but I needed a calendar, a planner that really works for me, and I didn't need a bunch of excess pages and whatnot. Most of the tracking I do is done online on my Google Calendar or my Google Keep or Tasks. And so, but I do like being able to check boxes off. So I made a 30-day calendar. On top of my calendar, I wrote out what my goals were. I wrote out, how to celebrate my accomplishments. I wrote out the things that make me happy. I wrote out like my own manifesto, just everything I need, like my purpose, my why, and I also wrote out milestones. I sat there and planned out my milestones for the year of like, okay, well, if I'm doing everything I should be able to hit this milestone by the end of January, which in this case was to be able to write out my first course complete with a shot list and everything, and have everything looked over and just basically ready to go, ready to film, right? And so I was able to do that. So there is my progress. And it took the whole month of January to do it. Now, mind you, the first week of January was me writing all this stuff out and planning all this and having it here where I can see it and hold it and review it every day, which has been extremely helpful. But it did set me back a week. I wrote out like where I am at as far as my fitness goals, like where my current statistics are and where I want to be, like a realistic goal of where I can feel like I can reach by the end of the month. And so I was able to, my first month was just getting my strength back because I hadn't been to the gym in a while. It wasn't so much focusing on like body fat percentage or weight or muscle mass. It was more so just making sure I'm in the gym and making sure I'm doing the workouts and getting my strength back on my lifts. So for instance, if I was benching 165 at the beginning of January, my goal was to at least finish January at 185, and by at the end of this month, I believe I'm adding on another 20 pounds, another 20 pounds after that. That way, I could get back to where I used to be, where I was able to lift 225. So, and from there, I'll probably have to slow it down a little bit because it's a lot easier getting back to a place where you once were. It's a lot harder to break new barriers. So I doubt I'll make as much progress the month after, but yeah, you get the idea. But as far as my business goals, again, I was able to complete that first write out with the shot list, everything ready to go and ready to film. So February, I'm writing the next course out, and again, I have about 4 courses I want to write out. So this is going to take me all the way into about April. Now the thing is it has been slow. On this calendar, and I'll show you if you can see it, I write out just like some major things. It's kind of bright, there's a light, but you see these multicolored things. They separate just like the major things I need to accomplish in the day. It's not all my goals in the day, but for instance, it's like making sure I do 10 hours of working on my business on the weekend, on like a Saturday or Monday, on the days that I'm off. There's a little thing here for making sure I'm working out, that I'm training, stretching, praying, And I can check off specifically those things that I've done for that day. And so at the end of the month, I have a measurement, right, where I basically have, the 31 days in a month, I can measure and see how consistent I was. I can divide the days I did by, how many days in the month and get a percentage of, did I do it 50% of the time, 40% of the time? And so, like, my goal is to basically all across the board have everything at least above 80%, right? If I'm cutting everything out and I'm focusing on myself and I have all this time to myself, I should be able to, you know, increase the productiveness compared to, the year before where I was doing all these other things and then trying to focus on my goals at the same time. Well, it's not as easy as it sounds. So even being home, all across the board, I was only about to able to really focus on all my stuff about 50% of the time. So not good. But I didn't make the progress I was looking for as far as my business for the month when I wrote out my milestones. Although it did extend a week into February, so I was behind. But again, I started late because I wrote all the stuff out as far as the planner and all that and everything else that I needed, and that didn't finish until the first week of January. It was already over. So being a week behind feels like I'm kind of on time, but at the same time, I would rather still have gotten it done. And there's some good notes to it, knowing that if I was only productive half the time, that if I can increase that productivity, I can actually get more done and advance my milestones further up if I can just stay consistent. Um, Now, the reasons I wasn't consistent, it's just really hard. Like I would sit down in front of the computer, and half the time my mind was just ADD, like just going all. I couldn't focus on the thing I was trying to do, even though I wasn't going out, even though I wasn't, like hanging out or having friends over. Uh, just being here by myself, I was still able to. My mind would find distractions, and so I had to find ways around that. Just little things that I would do like that probably doesn't make any sense to anyone. But like, for instance, I have a magnifying glass, and I took it out and I held it. And the reason I held it in my hand while I was working was I felt like 30 minutes would go by of me just my mind being somewhere else, and then I'll remember, hey, I'm supposed to be working on this stuff, and that would happen so often. I was like, I need like a sign that says "stay focused," right? But I don't really want something just blaring at me like a like I could write something on the computer and like I don't want something just to be flashing at me like that. But like that's something I needed. Like I feel like that would be like, okay, because I would, if I'm looking elsewhere, my mind's going off, I would see this thing at the corner of my eye and think, oh, wait, I gotta focus. But at the same time, that's like just so obnoxious. I don't want that. So I was like, I need something that's just like thought provoking, some sort of thought provoking item that like I can see in my peripheral vision and be like, oh, that's right. Like I need to focus. And so I used the magnifying glass, and for some reason that actually helped. Um, I can't explain it. I don't know why. I don't know why I even thought of it. I just needed something, and it was the first thing I grabbed, and it helped. The other thing I did was I stopped coming down to work in my office in my pajamas. Like I would make sure I would shower, I would get dressed, and feel good, I guess, clean, good, and just ready to go. And so that really helped because when I was in my pajama, I would think, it's easier. I'm not going anywhere. Like I would usually shower at night and whatnot, but like I would just be like, all right, I'll come down and just get straight to work. And like I would come down here, or I'll go eat my breakfast in my pajamas, and I would just stay here and feel like I was gonna fall asleep. So it didn't really help. But when I started showering right before I came down and got ready and felt like I was going to go to work, like something helped. And so those two things helped a lot about, at least for the part of me focusing on working on my stuff. There were still days where I got lazy, especially with waking up at 4:30 in the morning. Some days, like if I didn't get to bed or if I got to bed and I just couldn't sleep, uh, it was a struggle waking up at 4:30 in the morning. So I missed out on half the gym days that I wanted to be there. And so again, like pretty much everything across the board was 50%, which is not what I'm looking for. I mean, that's still more productive than I was before prior to cutting everything out. Because with all those other things added in my schedule, with hanging out with friends and this and that, uh, if I had to use the same kind of schedule I made right now, I would probably only be productive about 25% of the time. So this is double the increase, but it's not enough of an increase to make it worth, like isolating myself. So and it wasn't perfect isolation in January. I still had a day or two where I made a point to go out and see certain people and whatnot. And then also, aside from family, I did go see my family as well. But I was able to limit the time that I spent out. I didn't go out, I didn't go drinking or anything like, well, one day I did, but like not to the point where I was out where I woke up the next day and I'm like, oh, I'm so lazy because of the night before. I made sure to limit most of my outdoor activities to just being able to go, come back, and then make sure I was able to try to wake up and focus. But like again, that I just ran into the other problem, just not being able to focus anyway. But it wasn't because I was feeling like lazy. Like I came down ready to go, and it's just my mind just having trouble focusing in general, which is part of the reason why I decided to do all of this. Is because if I don't have as much time as possible to, I guess, train my mind that, hey, we're not leaving the seat until we can make some sort of progress, then I just felt like, well, I was never going to get anywhere in life. Like I wasn't going to get anywhere. And truth be told, I think the most important thing to say is that in the month of January, with the progress that I made, had I not been doing what I'm doing right now, it would have took me maybe 3 months to do what I did in basically 3 weeks. Because well, no, 4 weeks. Yeah, it was a full 4 weeks because I finished first week in February. Yeah. So anyway, in 1 month, I did work with only 50% of the days that I really pushed and made actual progress. Um, but in that 1 month, I was able to do about what I would have done in 3 months. So if I can increase productivity to about 80%, for sure, I think I'll be able to probably in 3 weeks do what otherwise would have taken me 3 months to do. And so there was significant progress in that. And I actually had a moment of clarity where I actually said to myself, I was like, sitting here and doing this and focusing on my work, the days that I'm off of my actual job and whatnot, gave me a certain enlightenment where I felt like, wow, this is actually working. And so, like, I actually, not only did it feel like it was actually working, but I could see it more clearly what I was doing and where I was going with it. So it was actually a pretty awe-inspiring moment for me to be able to out of nowhere sit there and feel it. And like it was like such a moment where I was writing down, just like I believe it was like my task because I had just finished working for the day. So I write down everything that I've accomplished for the day or where I left off. That way I know exactly where to pick up. There's no questions in my mind and what I have to do next, right? And in the middle of writing that, I actually wrote down like, wow, like I feel so clear in what I'm doing that like I feel like this is it. This is gonna work. And so um, it was pretty awesome. And it definitely motivated me to keep going and that I'm on the right path and that for sure I'm going to pick up productivity and make sure I'm, checking off all the boxes as my days go by as much as possible. Definitely more than January. So the idea is to be better than I was before. So for the month of February, I'm going to be better. Now, it's just crazy though how, and sorry, this is going to be a little bit of a long video, but If there's anyone out there watching, I apologize. But you know how life throws you curveballs. So it's crazy because I just got through January, right? I made this schedule. I planned out every minute of every day to say, at this time of the day, I'm at work. At this time of the day, I should be home. I should be able to focus on this. Not that I will get those specific things done all the time, but the idea is that I needed to know how much time was in a day and how much time I have to do certain things. Otherwise, I would never be able to plan for it at all. And so I I meticulously made all this these the made all this whole schedule to be able to visualize where I can do things, and if I failed on that particular day, where I can pick up, and like just being able to be adaptable. Um, so again, I'm off on Mondays. I work 4 days and I work 10-hour shifts. And so I planned my entire schedule around these days, the way that they're set up. And I like this schedule because the work life balance is really good. And feeling like I have 3 days in a row, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, to put 10 hours in, or I allot 10-hour, blocks to work on my business. It feels equivalent. If I could do 40 hours at work, I could do 30 hours for my business. Sounds good to me, right? Well, my job all of a sudden now wants me to go back to working 5 days a week. And it came out of nowhere and it hurts so bad to hear that because I still haven't gotten the damn promotion I've been asking for. And instead, they want to take away things. And so, fucking sucks, is all I got to say about that. But like, the worst part is I got through January with the schedule and everything I'm trying to do. And now I got to make a whole new schedule and figure it out because now I lose a 10-hour block on a really important day. And like I I did make a schedule, like where do I take those 10 hours now and put it in a Monday through Friday where I have to go to work. And I was like, it's really hard to do after work. I can't do it after work. I have to do it before work. So I'm like, well, I already am going to the gym before work. So how do I pack everything in before work? And so it's the schedule I wrote out. It's going to be me waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning as opposed to waking up at 4:30. It's going to be 2 o'clock in the morning and going to bed at 6:30 right after I get out of work at 5. Well, basically, get out of work, come home, still do like some cardio and whatnot, get my lunch ready for the next day. It's eating dinner at work, coming home, doing that stuff, showering, going to bed, or reading the Bible first, then going to bed, and then waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning. That's how I'm gonna have to do it. Like that, it's just crazy to me. Like I'm gonna do what I gotta do. That's the whole point of this year. But to take away that day I had off, which made that schedule a lot easier, especially because when on the days when it comes to the point where I actually have to film, having that day off, that full day, is gonna make so much of a difference. Where now I don't have that third day, and if I need to use a facility, I need to use it at a certain time. If I need to have people help me, like I'm not gonna be able to do those sort of things at 2 o'clock in the morning. So, or 3 o'clock, or basically 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, where after I finish the gym. And so it's just going to be insane now to try to work around this curveball that life has thrown me. And so I actually wrote a letter to my boss. Now I'm just venting, right? I wrote a letter to my boss to argue the point of the fact that the whole agency has been more productive since we've had the 410 schedule. Our numbers show that. And my hopes is that he'll at least give it some consideration, but you know how that goes. If they've once they make up their mind, that's pretty much it. So I have to roll with the punches, and it's just more reason why I got to get this business to take off so I can get my goal of making my own schedule and working on my business. So, well, here it is. That is February. I do plan to put out my video where I'm going to start. Well, I already started, but like I'm going to include some of the videos I filmed already, but like really make the first vlog for my planche journey, where I'm learning how to planche, and my split journey, where I'm learning how to do the splits. Um, I'll also, on my next update in March, I'll talk about just how much I've learned second language, which I'm picking up on Chinese again. I have the book still in here. I haven't even picked up the book again. I just downloaded Duolingo because for some reason Rosetta Stone canceled my account because I haven't used it in forever. I didn't know they could do that because I thought I paid like a one-time fee, but that's neither here or there right now. I can't even be bothered to think about it. But this is my journey, and I encourage you to work on your dreams. So if you're here, whoever you are watching this video, this is what I'm doing to make sure I focus because I feel like this is my year. I feel like this is my year to do it. And that, I'm not getting any younger. I have a good opportunity now. I have, a lot of things set in place for me to focus on where I can eliminate a lot of distractions. And so this is how I'm doing it. I need to know just how capable I am, what I'm capable of, and if I really can achieve my dreams. So this is how I'm going about it. You can do the same. You don't have to do what I'm doing, but no matter what you choose to do, I hope it all works out for you. Stay motivated. Life's gonna throw you curveballs, but when life gives you lemons, right, you gotta make lemonade. So here I am rolling with the punches, and I hope you do the same. I'll catch you next time.